Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naveed bin Hashim. I'm a student at the Canadian University of Dubai, currently in my third year, doing a bachelor's degree in e-business. We as students benefited a lot and enjoyed the entrepreneurship course. We learned how to do design thinking. We learned how to do prototyping. We learned the difference between social and commercial entrepreneurship. We understood the needs and wants from our customers by developing the business model canvas and creating products and services that will best suit the needs of our customers. We learned how to develop a business case and understand and develop a feasibility study. All of these will help us in our professional and business careers in the future. Dr. Naveed was able to deliver a very interactive classroom experience where we played games on Kahoot, and he created a very competitive environment and introduced gamification in a fun way in the educational system. We were able to deliver our ideas openly to our peers and receive feedback on these ideas, not on the last day of delivery for the project, but throughout the whole lecture. And that created a very interactive classroom and created a bond between us and the students, where we were talking after the lecture about our ideas and how to better the ideas and how to pivot from one direction to the other. I would like to thank Dr. Naveed for nominating me and my team for the UAE Innovation Month in the year 2020, where our idea won the third place for the competition. The experience by itself was a very unique experience. We had to explain our ideas not to our peers this time, but to the public and to the panel that came to judge our idea. And for that, we thank Dr. Naveed. I wish Dr. Naveed a great future and wish he wins the GEMS Educational Award. Thank you. Good luck.
Hello, my name is Adnan Mahmadzada. I'm 19 years old and I've studied in CUD for my first 2 years in the major of BBA in Supply Chain Management. And for the following reasons that I'm about to explain, I would like to nominate Mr. Dr. Naveed Yasin for this award. Now, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of professors, lecturers, and a lot of professionals in the field of academia. Needless to say, the reason why Mr. Dr. Naveed Yasin stood out for me is the fact that he went above and beyond the traditional professor to student, I'd rather say relationship. He went above and beyond the basic theory of entrepreneurship. And his interaction with his students genuinely made me believe that I can be an entrepreneur in the future, although it is something that is really, really challenging. The positive vibes, the positive environment that we always found ourselves in week in and week out in his classes is truly something that I genuinely cherish and is something that I genuinely really admire. Moving on, there are certain things that I noticed in his courses that made me believe that this person is not just an extraordinary, I'd rather say an individual. He's also a really extraordinary lecturer and a professor. First and foremost, his teaching style. Now, his teaching style consisted of real-life videos, real-life examples, modern technology, and basically he pushed us, I'd rather say, to the next level with his teaching style, and therefore his courses are really memorable. I genuinely remember a lot of things that I have learned from his classes. And also the content of what he was teaching us is something, in my opinion, is second to none. I generally don't really think that I can find the amount of things that I've learned from his class anywhere else, neither in the library, nor from any other person, nor over the internet, surprisingly. Therefore, in my opinion, what we learned not just gave me an insight of what entrepreneurship is in general, obviously, but also the way that life works when it comes down to entrepreneurship and having the mindset of an entrepreneur. Now, we targeted a lot of social issues that we face, unfortunately, in our modern day and age, and the solutions that he didn't give us, he actually pushed us to come up with those solutions is something that was really eye-opening. And in my opinion, it made those social issues look a lot more solvable than they already are. Now, apart from all these key factors, the one thing that I really like to stress on is how much I have developed, not just as a CED student, as a potential entrepreneur of the future. I genuinely never really knew that I had the potential of being an entrepreneur after I've been to this, to this lecturer's classes. Needless to say, it is, like I mentioned earlier, really, really eye-opening and something that I will genuinely look forward to doing in the future, being an entrepreneur. And the last thing that I would like to mention is actually the only thing that I have learned and used immediately and have seen great results for myself. In one of the RLC chapters that we had in our entrepreneurship courses is building your CV. Now, in my opinion, a lot of people don't know the importance of a CV, and honestly, it is really frustrating to to be a really talented person and have a poor CV and still get rejected from a job that you really, really want. And before I used to work in CUD in the customer service department, and for certain personal and professional reasons, I had to resign. And honestly, I was in between jobs. I was on a journey of self-discovery for a while. And after I went to his classes and learned more about CVs, I genuinely started using those experiences and advices that we learned from him in his classes. And after a few drafts of CVs, I came up with a CV that genuinely got me into 2 interviews the same week. Now, I do understand that it is something that is really, really important, but I never really knew how much of a difference can a good CV make. And therefore, for that, I'm truly thankful. I did go to those 2 interviews, but unfortunately, due to certain family reasons, I wasn't able to carry them on. To finalize my point, in my opinion, Mr. Dr. Naveed Yasin is not just an extraordinary man, he's a really experienced lecturer and someone who truly cares, not just for his passion, not just for academia, but for his students in general.
My name is Tinkerstad. I am a 4th-year international business student at the Canadian University Dubai, and I am nominating Dr. Naveed Yasin because I believe his intellectual teaching techniques and his understanding of how to approach young adults our age is worthy of this nomination. I studied fundamentals of entrepreneurship with Dr. Naveed, and one of the things that I took away from that class was how to create a journey map in order to describe my step-by-step way of how to accomplish a certain goal or a certain project. Even beyond the class activities and support that Dr. Naveed has provided to us, he has been available to guide me and my classmates to performing better and prepping us for what we should actually expect from the entrepreneurship and business world as well. Besides the basic entrepreneurship theories and methods, he has discussed with us personal experiences and struggles or issues that he has faced that we will possibly also face while trying to become better people and have better futures. In the classroom, Dr. Naveed actually uses a different approach of teaching where he divided the class into 3 halves. So the first half of the class was used for him to explain the lecture to us, add anecdotes or any personal experience or real life examples to help us better understand the subject or the topic of the day. And the second half of the class was used for us to ask questions, raise any concerns that we had if we didn't understand the topic, if there were any issues. And then the third half of the class was used for him to guide us while we were doing practical work, where we were working on a term project the entire semester. So he was guiding us and telling us whether we were on the right track, if there was something we should change, if there was something that was not right, if there was something that was not adding up. So he was constantly there to guide us through it. And even the process of which we formed groups was also different and interesting because we formed our groups from the first day of class, and it was not because usually either the professor puts us into groups or we pick groups with people we already know or just our friends. It wouldn't matter if they were working properly or not, but because they were our friends, we would just get in a group with our friends. However, what Dr. Naveed did was from the first day of class, each person in the classroom had to write 3 words that could physically describe them, so people could identify them, and we put it on the table, and everybody picked one out, and then we tried to know who the person was based on those three specifications. So maybe somebody who wears glasses, somebody who's short, somebody who's tall, somebody who is, I don't know, had long hair. So these were specific like words that people used, just 3 words. And then when we got the person, then those were the people that we ended up working with. So that was also a different way of people being put in groups. This way it's not being favorable, so nobody's left out without having a group. Everybody ends up having a group as well. Now, further than being just a professor, he's friendly to the students. He includes humor. He infuses humor into the classroom because students get easily bored. You could lose their attention very quickly, so he infuses humor as well to be able to keep us on an attention. He also understands that sometimes as students we could make mistakes, and sometimes we're not able to perform 100% and function to our maximum, but he makes sure not to pressure us. But he also lets us know that we still need to get our work done, because in the outside world it's like people just can't take day offs because they're not feeling well or they're not in a good mood. They can't function 100%. So at the end of the day we still had to do what we had to do. So I am very grateful for having a professor like Dr. Naveed, and I believe he's worthy of this nomination. Thank you.
My name is Ruben. I study at the Canadian University of Dubai, and I'm nominating Dr. Naveed Yasin. The reason why I'm nominating him is because he goes beyond the basic theory by sharing videos that are relevant to the topic and conducting in-class activities. He also uses unique and creative approaches of learning, such as using Kahoot, which is a game-based learning platform. This makes the class more entertaining yet informative. He also gives real-life examples to make certain ideas and concepts more comprehensible. He relates personal experience in class, so whether it's his experience from being a university student, an entrepreneur, or a professor. Now, I have taken 2 courses with Dr. Naveed. I have taken Fundamentals of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and lastly, Entrepreneurship. Prior to the first course with Dr. Naveed, I have taken the Get2 test, which shows your entrepreneurial tendencies. So for the first test, it was a 46%. And then the last Get2 score I took was in his last course, which was 65%. So overall, my entrepreneurial tendencies have majorly increased, which shows the positive impact that Dr. Naveed's classes have had on me. So it increased my confidence, it increased my social skills, which most successful entrepreneurs possess, such as risk-taking, autonomy, and achievement. Now, what was new and different about Dr. Naveed's courses is that we were able to identify problems and being able to come up with solutions, for instance, using the design thinking process. We were also able to solve social issues, and we were taught how to implement peer review by watching our fellow classmates present and evaluating them based on the criteria that Dr. Naveed has put out for this specific assessment. And he was able to take our feedback into consideration. We also had real-life videos of entrepreneurs pitched ideas, such as using Dragon's Den as an example, where we analyze the mistakes that the entrepreneurs have made while pitching their ideas. For example, using the wrong business terminology, having issues with numbers in the financial plan. Taking this course, it has given me the confidence that I'm able to start my own business if I can't find a job within my specific industry. So Dr. Naveed's assessments were very realistic and detailed to what a real business idea pitch would look like if we were ever to pitch our idea to real investors, since it included everything required to open a business, such as doing a market analysis, a financial plan, and our resources. And finally, now how these methods and teaching styles were different. Since Dr. Naveed was very interactive with his students in class, he goes around and he provides detailed feedback about our assessment, what needs to be done, what can be improved. He's also always relating real life examples to any idea given in class. Lastly, he was always more like a friend to his students than a professor, which gave us a very friendly and nice environment, and we can talk to him about anything. So I believe that Dr. Naveed deserves this award.
Hi, my name is Sarah Farouki. I am currently studying at the Canadian University of Dubai. I believe that Dr. Naveed is really a different kind of professor. He really goes beyond basic theory. He's always interacting with his students, always making sure that we understand the course. He really gives us a lot of real life example, which is easier for us to relate to the course. And he really relates his theory to his personal experience, which is very interesting. I personally took the class called Fundamentals in Innovation and Entrepreneurship with Dr. Naveed, and it was a very interesting class thanks to Dr. Naveed's way of teaching, and I really believe that Dr. Naveed should get this award because he is a very motivating person, very motivating and inspiring professor too. He was always pushing us forward, always making sure that we were working at our full potential, and always making sure that we worked as hard as we can to get what we want, because he knew that we had a lot of potential. And he was very inspiring because when he was talking about his personal experience, it would really put an image of what could await us in the future, and this was very amazing. And he really changed the way I perceived the course, but also the way I perceived entrepreneurship. I also really appreciated Dr. Naveed's way of teaching because it was very new, very different, but we were always learning new things, and this was amazing. I really appreciated the fact that he was always interacting with us, always making sure that we were part of the discussion, always making sure that we were giving our ideas. He would take our feedback, whether it was positive or negative. The content that we were learning was very interesting, very new. It was always different, and this was very nice. I also really appreciated the fact that our project all revolved around solving social issues, and this was very interesting because it showed us also a different image of entrepreneurship. And I also found very interesting and very nice the fact that Dr. Naveed kind of prepared us for our future in the working industry, because he kind of prepared us for our future employers. He would give us new ways to send our application, or new ways to develop our skills or develop our CVs, and this was very nice. I also think that Dr. Naveed really delivered a positive message throughout the semester, and this was very nice. He was always positive, always making sure that we would understand. He had a very close relationship with his student, and this was amazing. I think that Dr. Naveed really changed and impacted positively the class, and he personally had a positive impact on me because he really changed the way I perceive the course. And I believe that the future students who are going to take Dr. Naveed's course should go with an open mind, because sure, it is different, but we are always learning new things, and this is what I found amazing about the course with Dr. Naveed and about Dr. Naveed. It's very interesting, very different, and they should not apprehend at all taking the course with Dr. Naveed. And Dr. Naveed really gained my respect because he was very friendly, very creative, very supportive also. He was always giving us feedback, always making sure that the feedback he'd give us would impact us positively. And we really didn't have this teacher-student relationship, but really kind of friendly relationship. He was very supportive, always making sure that we worked at our full potential. And just this is what I really appreciated about Dr. Naveed and about the courses I took with Dr. Naveed.
This is Sheldon. I study at Canadian University, Dubai, and this is my final year majoring in international business. The person I'll be nominating today is Dr. Naveed Yasin, and now I'm going to give you a brief description of why I think this person should receive this award. First of all, he goes beyond his day-to-day job role. He interacts with his students outside of class time if they needed extra help and guidance with their projects. Makes sure that his students are satisfied with their grades and the feedback that he gives us. And he takes into consideration students' issues and suggestions and tries to help them as much as possible. He also tries to make us feel more like his friends rather than a professor-to-student relationship, which also motivates us to keep going, and it also motivates us to do better and better at our courses with him. Second of all, he also uses different approaches of learning. He also creates Kahoot quizzes. Kahoot is basically a game-based learning platform which asks multiple questions in order to test the knowledge of students after certain classes. He also shows us some interesting videos related to our topics, and he also highly focuses on in-class group work. And he also uses sometimes some real-life examples, and he also shares some personal experience that he went through. He gives anecdotes about specific ideas in class. He also shares some funny yet purposeful stories of himself when he was our age or when he was an entrepreneur or professor. These stories also relate to some ideas proposed in class in order to further clarify them. Okay, so now I'm going to provide you with 2 get-to scores that I did before I took any courses with Dr. Naveed and after I took the 2 courses with Dr. Naveed. So my first get-to score before taking any courses with him was 63%. However, after I took with him Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship and Entrepreneurship courses, my get-to score has boosted to 72%. So you can see it's actually a major change. Throughout the courses I took with him, I realized that they haven't only boosted my achievement, autonomy, creativity, control, and risk-taking levels, they have also increased our confidence as students and our social levels, and it has also helped us in making social relations easier, and it taught us the methodology of peer reviews and the implementation of it. Therefore, the increase in my entrepreneurial tendencies shows that Dr. Naveed has had a positive impact on me after I took these courses with him. So now I'm gonna talk a bit about Dr. Naveed's courses and what I have gained from them. First of all, I have gained the skill of identifying problems and being able to create solutions by teaching us to use the design thinking process and asking us to apply it to certain projects that we did throughout the term. Second of all, we have also learned to solve social issues, where we had to find discrete solutions to specific worldwide social issues of our choice, like cyberbullying, for example, in multiple projects. Third of all, he has also taught us how to implement peer review, where we were asked to watch certain presentations done by our colleagues in class, and we were also asked to evaluate them based on Dr. Naveed's specific criteria, and he also asked for our feedback on their presentation. Lastly, but not least, employability. By taking these courses with Dr. Naveed, it has given me the confidence that I never had before, that if I can't find a job in my selected industry, I could always enter the industry by starting my own business. So it has given me self-employability and an entrepreneurial edge for tomorrow's gradual labor market. Furthermore, Dr. Naveed's projects were also detailed enough to the extent where it showed us how a real business idea pitch would be done, and how it can appeal to real investors from all around the world. This has also given us more confidence to start our own business. In the process of pitching our business idea, we had also come up with a business plan, market analysis, financial plan, operations plan, and we also assessed the critical risks by doing the SWOT analysis and all these sorts of things. In conclusion, okay, the key ideas and reasons that engages me with this specific person nominated and how he has gained my respect as a student is because he is interactive, friendly, supportive, inspirational, innovative, creative, more like a friend rather than a professor, and many more things. So the reason why I think this person should win this award is because of all the above reasons that I mentioned previously, and because I truly think he deserves it. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Simran D'Souza. I'm currently studying accounting and finance at Canadian University of Dubai. I'm nominating Dr. Naveed in the category of innovation in education. I believe that he should receive this award because he has been an instrumental part of the success in shifting away from traditional teaching and examination approaches. I initially took Fundamentals of Innovation and Entrepreneurship with Dr. Naveed, and in all honesty, I wasn't expecting too much. Another lecture following the same old classroom learning format where the professor talks for hours on end. However, this overused learning process radically changed with this course. For starters, we had no examinations, with the exception of only group projects that required us to practically apply courses or concepts that we learned during class. At the start of the semester, Dr. Naveed conducted a test to measure our entrepreneurship skills before we started the course, and then at the end of the semester after the course was concluded. On average, my entrepreneurship skills rose from an average of 69% to 80%. I had definitely made progress and was able to successfully apply those skills to other courses. I was able to use the concept of design thinking that was heavily focused during class to effectively understand a problem and then come up with an innovative solution to solve it. We were allotted into groups in possibly the most creative way possible, and yet it was so random. We had to write about 3 characteristics about ourselves on a piece of paper, crumple it up, and then toss this paper to the front of the class. Every person was then asked to pick up one of the chits and identify their group members just on the basis of those 3 characteristics. These people would then go on to form your group for the entirety of the course. Never was this sort of method ever used by any other professor before, and it worked successfully because it allowed students to engage with one another and get rid of the social awkwardness within the class. Each lecture followed more of a workshop format as opposed to an actual lecture, where Dr. Naveed would provide instructions for the initial part of the session, and the next part of the session consisted of collaborating as a group on the project assigned to us. This would make the class much more engaging, as apart from the course material, we were also supposed to work on our team building skills. The course material covered during the class sessions comprised of real life examples and scenarios that Dr. Naveed would use to relate with the audience, that is us. He would always be kind and treated us as more as his friends than as his students. We were able to approach him at any given point in time to clarify doubts, receive suggestions on areas of improvement within our projects, and even advice on projects outside of the spectrum of this course. Dr. Naveed always strived to create a fun classroom experience, and it often felt like we were having a fun conversation with our friends, as opposed to actually being in a lecture. The course I took with him mainly focused on social entrepreneurship, which is researching and identifying a specific social issue within a country and coming up with an innovative solution for the problem. We then had to develop a poster depicting a typical journey map for the project, had to conduct interviews with people who would potentially be impacted by our solutions, and then these interviews were presented in the form of an empathy map, particularly focusing on the emotions of the interviewees. Additionally, we were also asked to develop a physical prototype. The social issue that we focused on was poverty alleviation in Nigeria, and our prototype was a geopark, which is an area of natural landscape that is converted to promote tourism in poverty-stricken areas. We would have never thought of this had we not taken this course. Dr. Naveed, during his workshops, emphasized on the importance of entrepreneurial skills and social skills. We were exposed to videos of entrepreneurs pitching their ideas, and this helped develop skills of recording and sending video CVs and applications. Actually, one of our last projects was a strategic plan about our professional careers, including recording an elevator pitch where we wanted to show where we were heading in the next few years of our lives. His experiences after coming from a background of a family-owned business and yet choosing to get into academia follows a very holistic approach to give back to the students of tomorrow. And this journey is inspiring, and one of the reasons I have immense respect for him. Most of all, I think this course gave me the confidence that I could fall back on my entrepreneurial skills and start up my own business if I was unable to find a job amidst the uncertainty of tomorrow's labor market. Thank you.
My name is Dia Mary Matthew and I study in Canadian University, Dubai. And I've taken 2 courses with our professor, Dr. Naveed, who teaches at Canadian University, Dubai. And compared to like our other professors, he has a very different pattern of conducting classes and exams and all those things. Especially like for the exams, it's mostly project based, so it's very different and it's more like application based. So we learn so much from the process of doing the project. Like for our last course, which was entrepreneurship, we learned how to make a business plan and how to do an elevator's pitch and a lot of stuff which was useful in the real life too, and is more based on practical knowledge, unlike normal exams where we just learn what we have to and write it in the paper. And so the professor is very approachable, and anytime we have any doubts or questions, we just go and like we mail him or we go to his office during his office hours, and he's always available and always there to help us with any queries or any doubt. And he always is lenient also. If we need a deadline and if we have a proper reason for it, he would allow us to get an extension for our projects. And we've learned a lot from him, how to like work in groups and how to put different ideas together and take an idea into a business plan and into a workable business. And our first course was based on social entrepreneurship, and there also we learned a lot about how we can help the community and do social work through running a business. And we did a topic on women empowerment, so it was very different, and the professor liked our idea too, so he helped us a lot in taking that raw idea and making it a good one. So overall, I would say like this is the entrepreneurship course has been one of the best courses I've taken, and I would love to have take more classes with Dr. Naveed. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ahmed. I study at the Canadian University of Dubai, and I'd like to talk about our doctor, Dr. Naveed Yasin. Dr. Naveed has challenged our way of thinking as students through his very interactive classroom sessions. He gave us the material in a way that helped us relate to it and helped us understand it better. I personally have created 3 projects within his classrooms that are now actualized into actual businesses, and he challenged my way of thinking as a business student. So as a business student, we're always taught that everything should be within sequences. Everything should have a different kind of pattern. Dr. Naveed showed us that there is a way to challenge our thinking without interfering with the business aspect. How we can take our ideas and factualize them and turn them to actual businesses and actual successful ideas. Through this, I was able to learn a lot from Dr. Naveed Yasin, and Dr. Naveed Yasin was always available for us to help us with outside of our projects, to help us develop our projects further. He was always there to provide us with guidance whenever we needed it. And arguably, Dr. Naveed was one of the best professors I've ever came across within my years of learning. Thank you.
Naveed's helped me recognize my strengths and weaknesses related to entrepreneurship. He's been very kind and helpful to me, and overall it's been a joy to attend this class.
Hello everyone, I'm Abdullah and this is my friend Nasser. We are both from the Canadian University of Dubai. We are seniors. I am from the Caribbean.
And I'm from Mozambique.
I've been living here in UAE for 11 years.
And I've been here for almost, I'll say 4 years.
Yes, we both have experience in the academic system in the UAE. We both met so many professors. We are classmates. We entered CUD together and we are going to graduate hopefully together. We are nominating Dr. Naveed for this award because we believe he deserves it more than anyone. He taught us ever since the first day in class. I still remember that one day. The way he used the group formation method was different from every other professor. He used it by throwing papers in front of a board and picking it up. It was fun, it was creative, and it was different. Every student at that point realized this is something new. That was the first thing I paid attention to. Second thing, When I kept on attending class, me and Nasser were working together on the same project. We realized Dr. Naveed was more than just a professor. In a way, he was going against the norms of the teaching process, and he makes it more interesting. He was very innovative, and he just gives you a different way of thinking. The methodologies of teaching are not the same with him. The way he explained everything to us was different. When we had issues, whether during the class, he would always be there outside class. We go to his office, he would help us. Nasser and I for sure still remember that one day when we had issues, we both had business ideas, each one separate. We went to his office and he took us for coffee. We can't forget that day because we're graduating and both of us have a startup business right now. He took us for coffee, he spoke to us, he gave us advice, he motivated us. In a way, I truly believe that he's a role model to me right now. Secondly, I would like to also talk about the way he helped us in our project. We still remember how we made a prototype. We were so interested and invested in our project. It no longer seemed like we're doing it for the course. We were doing it for fun. We were actually interested in what we were doing. He made it different. He did not make quizzes, neither did he give any sorts of exams. No, it was all done by coursework. It was interactions in class. It was class activities, using Kahoot, online system, digital tech. All of this so that he can help us and make us understand more and more. We made a prototype about our project. I would like to also point out when we were talking about our project, he did not use any issue. He was talking about social issues. He was talking about real life examples and about the real life situations. Other than that, he also helped us in our business. Now, I started up my own business. It was an online stationery. I always had that in mind. It was going through my mind and I never actually took it into consideration until Dr. Naveed once asked me a question. I still remember that question. He asked me, Abdullah, what do you want to do in the future? I told him about my idea. I was never motivated to go forward with it. Dr. Naveed pushed me, Dr. Naveed taught me more, and he taught me how to use e-commerce and online business. And I actually started it. Now I have the first ever online stationery in the United Arab Emirates. It's based in Dubai. Thanks to you. It's all thanks to Dr. Naveed and his idea.
Right, so as Abdullah was saying, I also had a business idea, and I was always really afraid to come in front with it, right? And since I was very inspired by how Dr. Naveed was, how he taught the class, how he used real life examples, how he used his own personal life examples. So one time I came up to him and I told him I had this business idea, but I have no idea how to start or what should I do, where to start, anything like that, because this is the first time I actually spoke with someone. And he told me the first step I took with my business idea was supported by the professor. He taught me how to map my thoughts, my entrepreneurship thoughts, and now my business is not as great, as big as any other business out there, but still I feel like it's mine, and all that is thanks to the professor, obviously. And Dr. Naveed, since day one, since as Abdullah mentioned, the first day or the first week, something like that, we had the project. We had to pick our groups, and we had to throw papers in front of the class, and we'll pick it up randomly. Since that time, I always told my friends, my family, some of my colleagues that we weren't in the same class together, that how amazing the professor was, how his ideas and his the way of teaching is so different from everyone else, just like Abdullah mentioned. He's very creative. There's something in him that he brings a different point of view from every other professor. Every other professor is very box standard.
Typical also.
Exactly.
Dr. Naveed, we can say, is different from them.
Exactly.
The way he took his approach, it's very entrepreneurial. He implements it in class. He does not just teach it. He uses real life examples about it. He's very supportive. And what I can say is that, as Nasser said, he's different from the other doctors that taught us. He did one thing that I still remember, and I'm pretty sure Nasser is aware of, which we both used for our businesses, is using technology. He implemented e-commerce, online teaching, and technology into our daily lives, and that really helped us a lot.
how did it help? He helped us so much that I could with the business idea is a fitness it's a fitness idea, and I could reach so many people at the same time with so little effort, you know, and
That's what we want to talk about, and that's why we are nominating Dr. Naveed. We believe he does deserve.
So I enrolled in this course called as Entrepreneurship with Dr. Naveed Yasin, and towards the start of the course I did not have any entrepreneurship skills, but towards the end I ended up learning a lot of leadership skills, risk-taking skills, and ended up being a lot more innovative because our professor made the course a lot more interactive, educative, and the course is very fun because the professor made the he always constantly motivated us to work on our idea and supported us. Yeah.
I would like to thank Dr. Naveed Yasin, who's been a great professor. I would like to thank him for his kindness and the assistance that he provided us during this course. Since we had an online lecture, online classes, so he was prompt with emails. He made sure every student was engaged in the course. He provided us with guidance during the exams as well as with the project, and overall he is a great teacher. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ria, and I'm here to share a few words about Dr. Naveed. I still remember the first time I came across on campus with Dr. Naveed was because I needed some help with a business pitch idea for a competition. And in spite of Dr. Naveed not being my immediate professor in any of the courses, he was still one of the first few professors I could think of. And I approached him, and he selflessly took out time from his schedule and helped me review my pitch and helped me build on a strong foundation for my business idea. He gave me some very insightful and valuable tips that I think helped me a lot, and that said a lot about the kind of professor he is, you know. A professor who's not directly teaching you any of the courses but still is there for all his students to help them. It says a lot. It speaks volume about the kind of professor he is.
Hello, my name is Mohsin, and I was one of the students of Mr. Naveed, and I would like to nominate him for the Innovation in Education Award. I wanted to nominate him because his course really changed the way I think about innovation in general as a topic, and how I approach a lot of my problems, especially since his biggest focus in the whole course was creative thinking. He would really try to push us to adapt that to the projects that we were doing, and to use that when we're trying to find solutions to a lot of problems. For example, our first project was to create a solution to a social problem, and my group decided to do a safety jacket, a shock jacket, what we called it, for girls that would have to travel long distances in low-income areas, primarily in Pakistan. And Mr. Naveed really, really helped us with that project because we really wanted to include a lot of the main points that he went through in his course, and we wanted to show our creative thinking process with the solution. This helped us present it on Innovation Day at my university. It was very daunting at first because there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of greater projects that are being presented But Mr. Naveed really helped us in terms of thinking outside the box and really inspired us to keep focusing on how we can better our project and what we can add more to it. And we also really, he was really helpful in terms of the finances of our project as well, because we had no idea. And though we didn't really win any prizes on Innovation Day, there were actual investors that came and told us that they were interested in our product and if we were serious about it, which really, it was very shocking to my group. And it opened a lot, it really opened our mind into the fact that this could really be a reality and that we could really push and work on it and put it out in the market, which is really what Mr. Naveed's course really did. His lesson structures were also very unique. It was in a way that you wouldn't be bored. It wasn't a normal lecture where they would stand up and just talk. It was a variation of very open discussions where he would put out a question and we would all have different opinions, and he would create a really open space where we could tell and guess what certain words could mean, and etc. And another thing that was very unique to his lessons was his use of Kahoot quizzes, because after each lesson he would do a Kahoot quiz and on what we learned during the lesson, and it really helped cement the information that you learned through the lesson, the course. I really thought that was a very creative way to sort of remember all the things that he had taught us. And it personally really helped me when it came to applying it to my projects, and also motivated me to listen during the lectures and to contribute so that I would be able to do well on the Kahoot quiz. Honestly, after this course, I'm very, very happy I took this course because it really changed the way I look at problems and I address certain situations that I would see or certain problems I would face on a daily basis. For example, if I could, the protein shake, that was one of the first examples that he used, in which people going to the gym would face problems with the protein shake, and then came the creative solution of a transportable mixer. So on a daily basis, I look at the problems I face and I genuinely try to think that what if there was a solution to this? What if there was another way to cross the same path? And I really think that is a valuable lesson that I have taken from his lessons. And I really do think he deserves this award because it really changed the way I look at innovation in general. Thank you.
My name is Kiran and I'm a student at Canadian University of Dubai. I've taken one course with Dr. Naveed, and that is Fundamentals of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, which was one of my major courses. What I felt about his way of teaching is he has an approach that is very different yet very effective. Like, he makes us do more practical work and activities in class rather than just focusing on a theory, which is great, I guess, because in this way we actually learn how to apply all the knowledge that we've gained in real life and the challenges we face when you're actually working as an entrepreneur. Also, he has a different way of examining his students. Like, he wouldn't make us write the exams. Instead, he would give us projects and assignments which are more practical, and I think in this way the student gets a deeper understanding of the content. Moreover, his classes have never been boring, and he always makes it interesting by making us learn through online quizzes and games like Kahoot. And he has been friendly enough to make us feel comfortable whenever we have any kind of questions, and we can always ask him without hesitation. And another thing about his teaching is he focuses a lot on communicating with his students, and making sure his students participate in all the class discussions by sharing their experiences, their opinions, and their own examples related to the topic we're discussing. So overall, I've had a great time learning this course with him, and it's been very helpful, and I can confidently say that this course has helped me understand some concepts in my other related courses, and it's surely going to help me in the future when I step into the real business world. So all thanks to Dr. Naveed for that.
Hi, my name is Gayatri. I'm a third-year marketing student at the Canadian University, Dubai. I met Dr. Naveed for one of my classes, one of my courses related to theories of entrepreneurship. And I must say, it has been such a wonderful journey of learning and, seeing, identifying the inner entrepreneur in me. This course was really engaging, and I must say, in one simple word, it was really fun. Like, if you would ask me to name a course where you had fun with learning, it's definitely this course, because it was more practically oriented. Like, in this course, it was so different from the normal courses where we actually go and sit for lectures and just listen to the teacher, understand what they're saying, and then go home, study, and write exams. This was completely different. This had no exams, it just had projects. And the projects itself was really interesting. What Dr. Naveed helped the most in this course was helping us understand different concepts that we require in order to complete the projects and actually apply them in real life work, in the real life world. Like, for example, the most important element that I learned was empathy. You need to have empathy whenever you're creating a solution. This was a major point that Dr. Naveed stressed upon during our class. It's a good expert advice, because whenever we want to create a solution, we should know how the person would feel about it, or what they're actually going through, and really understand each and every aspect of the problem in order to come up with a solution. And how we go about thinking of an idea, to designing it, to define the entire idea, creating a prototype and testing. All these, it's a part of this learning. And I absolutely enjoyed the course and the elements it focused on, the learning outcomes that I could get. It was more practically oriented, which is why I could see how this could actually be implemented in real life situations. And I'm sure such a skill is very important, especially in my field, such as marketing. It is more of an engaging and customer oriented profession. So I'm definitely going to need some of these skills to think of something more unique. And if I have to say about the class, I must say it was the most a class that I used to look forward to a lot. Like, in my class was on a Thursday every week, but I would never miss that class because it was that engaging and that enjoyable. We used to play Kahoot games, which was very, very good because it actually attracts a lot of our attention, clears a lot of our concepts, and if we had any doubt. And it was more fun because we used to compete with our teammates or with our friends
apart
itself.
from this, some interesting things that we also did in the class was finding our teammates. Like in that class, I really didn't know anyone. It was probably the first time I was actually seeing them, and for a teamwork and for such big projects, you really need people who you can rely upon and would take good responsibility and get the work done, and it would be perfect. Well, because I didn't know anyone, I thought it would be very difficult to carry out the entire course. However, Dr. Naveed actually tackled that problem. He really did something very interesting. Like, he made us write a small chit about different characteristics, and we crumbled it up and threw it across the hall, literally, and we all went up and picked random chits on the floor, and we kept searching for whom this chit resembled and whom it belonged to, and that is how we actually formed the group. Creative, right? So these are some moments that we really enjoy in any course. And also, Dr. Naveed made us take two get-to tests, one at the beginning of the course and one towards the end of the course. And this is literally the proof that you could see about how this course actually affected us and actually made a change and made an impact on us. Like, for example, in my first get-to test score, I was not much creative. I was not a person who would take too much of take anything that was too risky to me. But towards the end of the course, completely opposite. I became more creative. I became a person who would take more risks. That was never, before this course, that was never me. I would never take any risks. But now I feel like, yeah, I could take up risks. So it's also created this course has really helped in bringing out innovative and entrepreneurial skills that I had within me, which I didn't know, and now I know. So this is the main impact that I had within the course, and this would have not been possible if it wasn't for Dr. Naveed. He helped me and my team and every one of us so much. We could ask him any doubts, and he would literally sit down with us and talk to us about it and go through with us. He also gave us suggestions and opinions about our project, and he would direct us to a better idea or to see if these changes would be more effective, which is probably why our project, we could be satisfied with our project, and we could learn more from this course, because I feel it is always important that you need to have a person that is supportive of you, can understand and can actually sit with you and go through it. And this is what Dr. Naveed has actually done. We could ask him for help at any time, and he will actually be there and clear our doubts. He also used to give good amount of time for the project. If, for example, if you're finding any difficulty with this project and if it's taking too much time, he would allow us a good amount of time, and we could get it done by then. I absolutely loved this course. I loved learning about how I could be
how I could be possessing such a characteristic that I never knew that I was there. And I sincerely thank Dr. Naveed for actually helping me see and identify an entrepreneurial or an innovative feature in me. And this is something that is very dear to me, and which I'm very happy about. And Dr. Naveed helped me a lot and helped my team and every one of us a lot. And I would like to take this opportunity to really thank him for teaching us and for being there for us. Thank you.